Hi, Purdey. Let's see what you wrote in this set, okay? For decades, it has been the responsibility of mothers to stop working and take care of the children. Nowadays, it is more common that fathers will be at home. I really want this to be something else. I want this to be, it is more common for fathers to be at home while the children are young so that women can work. This essay will discuss the possible causes of this positive development using examples from the UK government and Oxford University to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Okay, nice. There is ample evidence that there are multiple reasons for this major shift in society. While in the 70s and 80s of the previous century, only men would go to study after secondary school, nowadays women are on average higher educated than men. Careful here. You want an adverb, so it's more highly educated. Why? Because educated is your adjective, and so you need to modify it with an adverb. But it's comparative, so it has to be highly, more highly educated than men. Not a research, because research is uncountable. It's a study, but if you're going to use the word research, it has to be just research. So, research by the UK government has shown that a higher proportion of graduates from university consist of women. All right, that's not quite the word you want here, and even Microsoft Word doesn't like it. You could have just said are women, and that would have been okay. A higher proportion of graduates from university are women. Consist is not correct here. Next to this, it is harder for women to enter the work field when they were out of it for a couple of years. Not next to this. This doesn't translate well into English. You could have said furthermore, additionally. One of those would have been fine. So, furthermore, it is harder for women to re-enter is the word you want here. Enter the workforce, not the work field, the workforce when they were out of it for a couple of years. Most people will have children around the age of 30. And you need a word here. This is the best time, this is the best period in life to make a career. When men take a step back in this period, it will increase possibilities for women in the long term. Therefore, more women will be going back to work to increase their career possibilities. All right, I want to read this through again to understand the coherence and cohesion portion of this. So, what are you saying here? You're saying that there are numerous shifts in society. Only men went, whereas now women go. And then you supported it. Then you said, this is what I'm trying to wrap my head around. Furthermore, it's hard for women to re-enter the workforce. Most of them have kids around 30, and that's the best time to have a career. When men take a step back, it will allow women to work. Okay, so I kind of feel here like you made some mental leaps, and it's very hard for us, your audience, to follow. I think what you're trying to say is good, but you've tried to kind of incorporate too many ideas here in maybe not enough sentences, and so that's where one of the problems is here. Okay, so let's see. What we want to know is why more women are working and more men are deciding to stay home with their children. I don't really feel like this whole thing captured it. I think you were trying to, but it didn't quite work. So, what could you have said here? Let me think about this for a minute. Well, the first thing I would change is this first sentence. It's not it is harder for women to enter the workforce when they were out of it for a couple of years. That's not how you want to start a new idea. Okay? You could have said something like, furthermore, women may choose to remain in the workforce as mothers rather than leave it and return after having children because this is far harder. Okay? So you could have said that women who are in the heart of their career may decide that it is best for their career advancement to continue working and to step away from child rearing, giving this responsibility to men so that they can continue down their career path. Okay? And then you could say something about the men. You could say men, on the other hand, who may not be as driven professionally, may decide that this is the best role to take in order to support their wife's goals and their family as well. So that's how you could have done it. For me, it links a lot better. It has the right focus. I think it works better and is more or less what you're trying to say. Okay. It's just shifting the focus so that it's more relevant to the question they've asked you. Okay. All right. So let's move on. There are several reasons why this is a positive trend. The most important positive effect of the situation is a chance of becoming financially independent of their husbands. Okay, you said of their. I really need you to tell me who they are. You could have said the most important positive effect of this situation for women is the chance to become financially independent of their husbands. That works so much better. Again, research, no A, research by Oxford University, no the, shows that when women are working between the ages of 30 to 40, the years that the children are small, their chances to have a stable and financial life after a divorce increase, okay, their chances increase by 75%. Okay. Secondly, Secondly, by returning more quickly to the job market, there is a longer period that women can gain work experience, skills, and capabilities. They can also keep up with the work trends and developments. Okay, so that's fine. I have one major issue with what you've developed in your body paragraphs. And do you know what it is? It's that you really haven't mentioned men at all. Look at the topic. Men, fathers stay home while women work. Your focus on this essay was just on mothers. And in doing this and not focusing on the men, I feel like you've missed essentially 50% of this essay. Okay, all you wrote here about men was that they take a step back. That was it. Everything else is focused on women. Yet look at the way this is written. Okay, so clearly there's a definite balance here. Fathers stay home while mothers go and work. So you needed to give really a lot more attention to men in both paragraphs. Okay, and again, even this one, there was zero mention of men, zero. Okay, so that's going to cost you in terms of task achievement. All right. To conclude, because nowadays women are more highly educated and families are aware that it is important for the future careers of women to return. What? It is more important. No. And families are aware that it is important for women to return to the job market, comma, the traditional division of roles is partly disappearing. From the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that this is a positive development, mainly for the reason that it makes women financially independent. Okay, again, there's no mention of men. I liked it. Okay, I fixed a little bit of it, but there's no mention of men. And I do think that that's a problem in this essay. I think it's absolutely important to mention both equally, I would say, if possible. Okay, so I like a lot of it, but that's a major flaw for me. Let's take a look at your rainfall graph. The line graphs show, careful here, the amount of rainfall in milliliters in 3 countries in 2018. Overall, it can be seen from the graph that for all the 3 countries, the rainfall fluctuates heavily throughout the year. That's fine. I do think there's another thing you need to say here rather than just that. I think it's important to mention that on average, England has the highest rainfall. Why can we say that? Because it doesn't have any of the lows that Wales and Scotland have. Okay. While the amount of rain in the 3 countries fluctuates differently over time, there are some similarities to be seen. The rainfall in January is almost equal in what? January? No, okay. The rainfall in January is almost equal for Scotland and England. Oops, England and Scotland at around 120 ml. In June, all 3 countries encounter an increase in the amount of rain, peaking in July at 135 for England and Scotland, to drop again in August for all 3 countries. Okay. The most striking difference that emerges from the graph is the dramatic fluctuation in rainfall for Scotland in the period January to April. It plummets from 125 in January to 20 in February to go up again to the highest point of 140 in March. After this, the rainfall also decreases heavily. Okay. So, I think your writing here is very nice. I think your grammar and your language is really good, but you've missed so much of this graph as far as I'm concerned. You focused just on where the three graphs are similar, and really very little. And then it was like almost an afterthought. You had this paragraph about Scotland, but it was just about Scotland, which seems so strange to me. So I actually would not have written this paragraph. I mean, okay, you did talk about England and Scotland here a little bit. I did feel like, let me see. England and Scotland, okay, and then all three countries, and then, yeah, so I wasn't really happy with the way you decided to divide this. I do have some thoughts about it that I would like to share with you. The first thing is about how to treat a chronological graph, and that's what this is. It starts in January and it ends in December. And so it's telling us a story. And the story it's telling us is the story of rain in 2018. So when you hear a story or when you tell a story, what parts should be included? Well, the beginning, the end, and of course, some of those important parts in the middle. Okay? So let me tell you for each of these three graphs what those are. Beginning, end, the low is important, and these highs are important, which this one happens to coincide with the end. For Scotland, beginning, the low, 1, 2 highs, and then the end. For Wales, the beginning, the low, the high, this interesting period, it's the only period of stability we see, and then the end. Okay, so those are the points that I think absolutely should be mentioned. And it's a lot easier than it probably sounds. Okay, I would have started by talking about Scotland since it started the period at the highest, and I think that's worth mentioning. I think it's worth mentioning that it ended the year only slightly lower than when it began. The same thing can be found for England. Actually, for England, nope, not England, sorry, oops. It ended a slightly higher, as it did for Wales. The year ended slightly higher than it when it began. So those are the points that I think are worth mentioning. I didn't really feel like your job here, especially in this first detailed paragraph, was particularly successful because you started talking about all three and then you started talking about two and then three. And so I didn't really agree with that kind of thing. This is one of those rare graphs where I would have been okay if you had had three detailed paragraphs. I think that would be okay. It wouldn't bother me too much. Or you could select to just do a really brief paragraph about England, kind of maybe combining it with Wales, perhaps, maybe, or maybe you can combine it with Scotland since they started the year more or less around the same area. Okay, so there's a couple different ways you could do it. I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some information. Hope it tells you what you need to work on for your next set. So let's meet back here with that. I'm looking forward to it. So good luck.